Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a most marvelous day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. The scripture does command us to love one another. I'm not trying to be a Bible scholar, but we have to internalize those words for ourselves. What does it mean for each one of us to love one another? Well, today I'm talking about the wake-up call. We're all people of African descent. We are receiving wake-up calls all over the place, and they're coming from unexpected places in some cases. For instance, we've always been told that Canada was so liberal and it was a good place for people of color. They were inviting people of color to come to Canada. A few years ago, the Prime Minister of Canada, Justin Trudeau, was inviting immigrants and people of color from all over the world, Africa, the Caribbean, to come to Canada. The reality is Canada is a very large country, but is not well populated because northern Canada in particular is so cold. So it's not a hugely populated country for its size. So it makes sense that they would want more people for the economy, for the military, and other reasons. So they were inviting people to come. But somewhere along the way, they got their wires crossed up in Canada because it seems like everybody is not on board with all of that diversity that he was talking about. Now take a look at this innocent scene. Nice, beautiful, pristine playground with children swinging and sliding and whirling around, and their parents there supervising everything to make sure all of the playing goes right. Okay? Now look at this. Whites only, moms and tots. This poster was placed outside that playground and it stirred outrage. You can imagine among all of the non-white families, children, and parents. Now, the only people who are going to talk about this are black people. They didn't mean just black people, they meant non-whites. A content creator from Canada reported on this on Philip Scott's channel a few weeks ago, and she seemed shocked that this would happen in Canada. The black people who migrate to Canada mostly come from the Caribbean and Africa. And so they pretend they don't know what racism is and it's only in America. Well, this wasn't in America. This was in Canada. Posters advertising a whites-only moms and tots group were found in a multiracial neighborhood in Canada and sparked outrage. So this is a multiracial neighborhood. Okay, and it says the signs were spotted near bus stops and shopping malls in Coquitlam and Port Coquitlam neighborhoods in British Columbia. The Canadian Broadcasting Corporation and the Vancouver Sun reported. So this was reported by Canadian media that these people had posted these signs near bus stops and shopping malls, making sure the word got out that they only wanted white mothers and children at this playground. And there is no shame in their game. The posters invite white parents to escape forced diversity and join other proud parents of European children as we create an atmosphere in which our kids can feel like they belong. So some black Instagrammers captured this and put it on social media. And so, the community leaders go on to say what all they do to foster understanding and tolerance among the citizens of that community. But those people spoke very loudly about how they felt and what they wanted. So this was the Canadian wake-up call for the people of the African diaspora, Africans mostly and Caribbeans. And the next one is really almost too painful to even talk about. This is about the little black girl in Ireland where the gymnastics official was giving out medals to all of the little girls that participated in that event. And she intentionally walked her ass down that line with those medals and would not give that little black girl a medal. I still don't understand how you do this to children. It would be better to just go to the people's house and say, we don't want you here. Please leave our community. Or stop inviting them to your country and stay out of their country. These are the parents of that little girl. Her mother went to those people in Ireland and spoke out, and they weren't even going to apologize to the little girl or to her parents for what they had done. But the mother contacted Simone Biles. Simone Biles got involved, and she put it on her social media, and then it went viral. At first, the parents didn't even want to show their faces because they were afraid of the backlash from the community. But somewhere along the way, they have gotten some courage because the international community is behind them. But this is a wake-up call. These are African parents. I don't know where they're from, but this is a wake-up call. You have to speak out and advocate for your children when somebody is bold enough to do something this low down to your child. The child doesn't look to be any more than 10 or 11 years old. That's how deep the roots of hatred runs in some people's hearts. And this next wake-up call happened right here in the United States. Wake-up call headquarters. But it happened to an African immigrant from Somalia. And this is Congresswoman Ilhan Omar. She is the first Somali American in the United States House of Representatives, and she represents the 5th Congressional District of Minnesota. She was on the very powerful House Foreign Relations Committee, but she was making negative comments about Israel, which is an ally of the United States, and they have very powerful lobbyists in Washington. But she was talking about the treatment of the Palestinians and siding with the Palestinians instead of advocating for the people of Minnesota that she was representing. But she's very outspoken, and she took it literally that you have freedom of speech in the United States. You do until you offend somebody who's more powerful than you are. And that is what she did. Rand Paul had already warned her that she was criticizing Israel, she was criticizing America, she was advocating for countries that were not allies of the United States. So he warned her that she needed to stop talking so much. And then she said something that really offended him about America. And he told her that if she didn't like the way America was running things or something to that effect, that she could go back to the refugee camp where she came from. But that wasn't enough to stop her from talking. She continued to be outspoken. So what they ended up doing was stripping her. They removed her. The Congress passed a resolution to remove her from that committee. And that is not done often. Now, it is said that Africans from certain countries, like the Horn of Africa, are treated like honorary white people. And again, she may have taken that literally. But in the end, she was removed from that committee. Not only that, but they chose a candidate in Minnesota to run against her. And they undermined her so much that she almost lost that election. And she was winning that congressional district by 60 and 70 percentage points. But after she got into it with these people on the Foreign Relations Committee, her popularity in her own district went down. So I've noticed that she has quieted down quite a bit. because this wake-up call is not something to play with, especially when you're dealing in American politics. All you gotta do is ask our 45th president. Okay? This last wake-up call concerns this man right here, Ed Blum. Ed Blum is the man that's responsible for pressing the Supreme Court with case after case against affirmative action until finally this summer the Supreme Court overturned affirmative action. So his mission was accomplished, but that wasn't good enough. It has to be pointed out that the real problem at Harvard and those Ivy League universities is legacies. Kids who are getting in because their family members went to Harvard or whatever the school is, or they played some kind of sports at the school, or their parents paid for them to get in. That's where the real discrimination is. But his goal is to make sure that no black people get any kind of a level playing field. So he didn't rest until affirmative action was overturned. Now he has gone after another group that is trying to help black women get their businesses started. These two black women, Arian Simone and Ayanna Parsons, founded Fearless Fund. Fearless Fund is a venture capital fund founded by these two women. Their goal is to invest in women of color-led businesses who are looking for early stage investment. In other words, they are helping women to find money to start businesses because it's difficult for women who don't have any money to get startup money to start businesses. But Ed Blum has a problem with it because it's specifically for women of color, mostly black women. So it's the mission of it is really good. Basically, just helping women of color, poor women who have a vision and a strong work ethic to get their businesses off the ground. So what's wrong with that? Well, this man says that they can't operate a fund just for women of color. Now, remember, he won't go after the legacies in these Ivy League universities because these are white people. He's okay with having something just for white people or rich people, but he doesn't want to do anything to help people of color or poor people. So this is his concern. Keep the poor poor and the rich rich. That's what it seems like. So he took them to court. So they're winning some and losing some. But they say they're going to fight him and they are not going to let him prevail because they see what he's trying to do. So this is what they say. Ayanna Parsons says he's trying to eliminate all of the diversity. She says he's coming for us. He's coming for everything black. And we must fight back and we must stand up, said Parsons. Arian Simone emphasized that Blum and similar groups are backed by deep pocket supporters who will continue to push conservative efforts forward. So these conservatives are known by other names, but they are pushing to keep black people back. But Fearless Fund says they won't stop until black women have access to the venture capital that they deserve. So it seems like Mr. Ed Blum has met his match. They said they're going to fight. Every time he goes to court, they are going to. So this is the wake-up call for us. We African Americans already know about the wake-up call. But you have to keep your focus and be ready to fight when it comes about. Because these wake-up calls will come. But you have to be prepared. You can't get complacent. You can't ever start thinking that an enemy won't come for you. There are always enemies and there's always somebody willing to come for you. You just have to be ready. Okay, y'all, thank you for listening. Let me know what you think about the video. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.